Hi everyone! I know that it's been a while, but this is my much asked for Deku makeup tutorial. Now, I'd like to start off by saying that I am not a makeup professional, so this is really just stuff that I've learned by trial and error, and there has been a lot of trial and error. But I'm really excited to share with you the things that I've kind of figured out along the way. So, without further ado, one anxiety-fueled hero coming right up. All right, this is my first ever makeup tutorial, so I have all of my stuff set up here, hopefully in a way that's going to make sense and make this easy to film. Fun fact, I don't own like a regular makeup mirror. Like I always just do my makeup like on the floor in front of a wall mirror or just over my bathroom sink. So I found in my drawer this mirror from, I think it was like a reward that I got around a holiday time at Ulta or Sephora years and years ago. It says, "I'm so gorgeous, I make myself nervous." Well, everything makes me nervous, so that's fair. But yeah, so I'm gonna be trying to use this today. So the first step is going to be primer. I actually feel a little bit guilty including primer in this tutorial because 99% of the time I forget to put on primer. The only reason I remembered this morning is because I put it in my notes. I literally almost started this video without it before checking my Google Doc, which is my very professional way of note keeping. Because it was in my notes though, I remembered, so we're gonna do it today because this stuff does work, it's great. I just forget a lot. So we're just gonna, it's got like a little eye droppy, which usually means that it's professional. I just kind of put some on my fingers here, and then I'll just pat it in, and you can kind of feel it getting sticky on your skin as you use it. I am an absolute glutton for comfort, so if this felt sticky throughout the day, I would not use it. So then we're gonna let the primer sit for a minute. My next step is going to be concealer. Now, this concealer is still in the box because, so if you've ever seen any of my cosplay videos or photos, or even out of cosplay photos where I'm wearing makeup and you see that it almost seems like too bright around my eyes, almost like I have a goggles tan line. The reason for that is I bought a concealer and I really liked the formula, but the color was a couple shades too light, but I was too lazy to return it and then too cheap to buy a new one until I'd finished that one. So I finally finished the concealer that was too light for my skin, and now I have this one that hopefully will match my skin tone because, as stated before, if it does not, I will be too lazy to return this. So pretty. I like don't want to use it here. Oh, nope, never mind. It's dirty now. We're good. So as you can see, I have acne, which may lead you to say, Lexi, you cosplay a teenage boy. It must be your youthful hormones causing your acne. But you would be wrong. I am in my late 20s, and my acne is a physical manifestation of my stress, dehydration, and lack of good eating. So we are going to use concealer to hide my shame and my lack of self-care. But also, sometimes acne is just uncontrollable, which it also is for me a lot of the time. So if you struggle with it like I do, you're not alone. Even if you're an adult, don't worry. So now that I've got my concealer on everywhere, I have my Beauty Blender sponge, and it's already wet from running it under the sink, so I'm just going to blend this out. Any arm muscle that I have is from blending. Blending is a workout, and applying makeup is a sport. So the next step is going to be foundation. I've got mine here. Now I also apply my foundation with my beauty sponge. I just use a different part of the beauty sponge. Haha. Ooh. It just squirted on my hand. Ooh, it's everywhere. All part of the plan, kids. Got it. And we're blending again. Like honestly, one of these days I'm gonna have to start blending with my left hand just to make sure that I keep my arms even. So when I'm applying my foundation, I tend to bring it over my lips to try and neutralize them a little bit, and that's for Deku or any of my male cosplays specifically, not so much for female ones, because I think it reads a little more masculine when the lips are less obvious and less in your face. If you've ever seen photos or videos of me as Deku where my lips are just super bright pink and they're like really obvious, that means my anxiety got the better of me and I chewed my lips a lot and all the foundation is gone. Yeah. All right, so now that I've got all the foundation on, my next step is to add a powder. I know a lot of people like to set with a white setting powder, and I've tried those before, and even though they're really good quality, for me, I found that the white setting powder, when I'm underneath a really bright flash or a beauty light or anything like that, the white powder kind of reflects back and makes me look really weirdly pale. So I actually have a powder that is the same color as my foundation. So I'm just going to take some of that. And this is just going to set it and even it out. Now that I've got my base face on, we're gonna get into the Deku specific makeup steps. The first step of which is going to be contacts. Woo! We got one, guys. I think the worst part about getting the first contact in is like having that little moment of celebration and being like, crap, now I have to do the second one. But can I just be one green-eyed Deku today? Can that be my AU? My AU today is just, Deku had one brown eye. That's it. That's the entire AU. Oh my God. We did it, you guys. That's it. That's the tutorial. The contacts are in. I'm out. Okay, not really. So the next step I'm going to do is going to be the eyeliner. What I tend to do is I'll take my eyeliner only on this outer half of my eye here and bring it up on the outside and kind of fade in. And that way it kind of helps round out my eyes even more so than the contacts already do. So you can see I'm starting with just starting my line from the middle and out. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit more out here, but you can see it's already starting to kind of create that widening effect, as long as I don't go out too far. Once I go out too far, that's when I kind of accentuate the more almond shape of my eyes. Wow, kudos to makeup bloggers. This is really hard to do on camera. So now you can kind of see the shape that I've achieved with my eyeliner. I don't do much more than that because I found that's when it starts looking really effeminate as opposed to just kind of cutesy but still male. I talked too much and my eyeliner dried out. All right, friends, we've got eyeliner on both sides of my face now. Haha. So our next step is going to be eyeshadow. I really don't do a lot for Deku. Sometimes I even just kind of skip this step because I'm lazy. But really, I should be doing it every time. I use this orangey, pinkish, reddish. It's blood orange. If you get the blood orange reference, you're old like me. But if you don't have a color like this on hand, I have definitely forgotten this palette because that's the only color I need from it when I'm doing Deku. So I have used my blush instead. But today we have the palette, so we're going to use it. I am literally going to use my finger and just get it in there. And then I'm going to come over to my eyelid and just kind of put it on the outer corner. Now, when I'm doing Villain Deku, which will be a separate tutorial, I do a little bit more with this color, but for normal Deku, and then you just kind of blend it to make sure it's not too much, I just put a little bit up here, just to kind of bring a little more of that cartoon coloring and animation and focus into the eye, and again, just kind of brighten it and widen it a little more without doing too much. So it kind of gives it a little cutesy effect. But that is it for the eyes, and next step, we're going to move on to blush. All right, so for blush for Deku, I actually use two different shades of blush, a lighter shade and a darker shade. And again, you wanna pick your shades based on your skin tone. So this is my lighter shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in there, and I take my lighter shade and I'm gonna spread it all the way across my nose and my cheekbone. So I don't wanna go too dark with this color because this is just kind of a base layer for the freckles and the other coloring. And just to, again, add some color and interest into what is a very bright, very exciting animated character. And we're just gonna blend it out. Blending, you guys, eternal blending. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty subtle because that's just my lower layer for blush. So this is my darker shade. And what I'm going to do with this is actually go in kind of on the apples of my cheeks and then the bridge of my nose here. Deku in 2D and animation is very flat. He has the skin tone and then the 4 freckle dots each, and that's pretty much it. In real life, I like to try and translate it a little bit more so you kind of get the personality through the makeup. That's what I'm trying to do here. And we're gonna blend it out again. Blending! All right, next step is going to be the freckles. So this is the part of my makeup that I probably get the most questions about, asked about the most often, is how do I do my Deku freckles? And the answer is many, many, many different ways. So the freckles for me have actually been the biggest challenge. I've never done freckles for a cosplay or a costume or makeup look or anything before Deku. So I've done several different versions of Deku freckles up until now. So what I'm going to do for this tutorial is the version that I am currently doing, subject to change again in the future. But I am pretty happy with the version that I'm doing right now. So we're going to go ahead and stick with it. Okay. So for the longest time for Deku freckles, I was just using different combinations of like black and brown and thick and thin eyeliners to try and do sort of like a natural spattering of spots across where my freckles should be. And then I got tired of that and I didn't like it anymore. And I wanted them to look even more natural and less spotty. So it was the morning of a photo shoot that I was doing for Deku. And I was like, I'm not happy with my freckles. I want them to look different. And it was around Halloween time. So I went to Value Village and I bought like a $2 makeup kit set that they had there. So that's where I got this professional brown cream makeup and the Stipple Sponge. So that's what I've been using ever since because I liked how it looked. So I'm going to take this brown cream makeup and put it on my hand because my hand is my professional tool. So you're gonna take this Stipple Sponge and dip it in the cream makeup, but I'm doing it very lightly. I'm not like pressing very hard. I'm like barely touching it in. And you can see already how I've got like this big glob here. That is not gonna look like a freckle on my face. So I'm just gonna, usually I have like tissue. We're just gonna use my hand. So I'm just gonna use my hand and we're going to go ahead and just like kind of press that on until I can see the big globs are kind of gone. There, so you can see it's kind of going a little more light now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do that to my face. And again, to try and make it look more natural, I try not to just stick to like that cheek area, but bring the freckles like across my nose and kind of around. So now that I've got my base layer of freckles, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my eyeliner and add a few more darker dots because I think that those help it show up on camera a little bit better. And as a nice little Easter egg to myself, because no one ever notices but me, I always put 4 in the little diamond shape that he has in the animation. And those are my Deku freckles. All right, so now that freckles are done, the next step is going to be eyebrows. So as you can see, I have pretty thick, dark eyebrows. It was really difficult growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s when thin eyebrows were very, very much in style. So what I've found works for me is these NYX Jumbo eye pencils that are supposed to be an eyeshadow. I found it in a Rocky Mountain green that works really well to match the Deku wig that I have. So literally, just going to take this guy, draw it right on top of my brow. So when I'm doing Deku in terms of my eyebrow shape, I try and keep the inside a little more rounded instead of the really harsh, almost square shape that I do like for my daily look with my brows or for some other characters. And I also try not to emphasize my arch too much because that can read more feminine. So I'm just kind of sweeping the color through, for the most part following my natural brow shape, but making a couple choices along the way. I know when most people are talking about eyebrows or eyeliner, they like to say sisters, not twins, to assure themselves that it's okay if they're not perfectly even. I like to say cousins, not sisters, because I don't even get close half the time. All right, eyebrows are done. Surprise, I forgot a step along the way. So luckily this is a step that it's okay if we throw it on at the end, but that is bronzer. Bronzer and contour is kind of a tricky one with Deku, I think, because usually as a girl doing a boy cosplay, there's a lot of contour that has to happen to bring that face shape to life. However, Deku is a little bit more of a soft boy and he has a little bit more of a round face. and you don't want to emphasize it too much. So I kind of stick with a middle ground with Deku, whereas normally I would do a lot more contour for a male costume. So with Deku, you're gonna get your little smiles going, and I just kind of come in underneath my blush just to give it a little more emphasis than I would have otherwise. So it brings some more shape into my face so that it's not entirely round and squishy. And then we go a little bit under the chin too, because he still has a boy's jawline. It's not a super harsh jawline, but he does have, especially in the later episodes, in the later seasons, as he gets older and his face starts to thin out, you get a little more of this shape in him. I'm gonna kind of bring the bronzer down a little bit, just here, but not as much as I do again for, say, Lance or Kageyama. And then you don't really see it in the wig, but I always like to add a little bit of contouring right kind of here in the temple, because that's going to add a little strength to the face too, and just along the hairline to kind of smooth out those edges. So now that I've remembered the bronzer, that is officially all of the makeup steps that I do for Deku. So I'm going to jump into cosplay really quick and I will be right back. All right. Our first makeup tutorial, you guys, we did it. So go ahead and comment below. I know this was one of my most requested videos, so I really hope that it didn't disappoint. But let me know if you have any more questions or any other makeup tutorials that you want to see in the future, or just let me know if you enjoyed this one or not. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I cannot wait to see what else we do after this. Thank you all so much for watching.